Hello, hi. I'm so glad you guys are joining us for 20 Days to Wellness in 2020. You have a lot to look forward to. There's going to be so much information and just some advice and expertise that's going to be shared with you guys along your journey here over the next 20 days. So I'm happy to be a part of it. My name is Alyssa Williams. I am a certified yoga instructor, 500-hour training. I've taught Bikram for almost 20 years and Power Vinyasa for approximately 2.5. So I am super excited to be one of the many yoga teachers that are going to help introduce yoga, maybe to you for the first time, maybe to some of you who've done yoga before, and see what you can gain, any more knowledge or information that can help your practice in any way. So having said that, tonight we are going to focus on some foundational postures. I feel like over the years of my teaching and my own practice, that is definitely, along with breath, one of the most fundamental pieces is the anatomical alignment and proper engagement, so that you're A, refraining from injuring yourself, B, stepping into your potential at a more accelerated rate. So I've been passionate about yoga for years. There's so many benefits to it as far as obviously balancing blood flow in the body, all of the organs and everything that work a little bit more efficiently for you, as well as the mental, emotional, spiritual aspect of kind of creating and fine-tuning that balance. A lot of times what shows up on your mat is a direct reflection. Things that come up for you in your life when things get challenging or tougher, the fight or flight responses that come up physically, but as well as mostly mentally. So it's starting to be able to be the witness, to see yourself fully on your mat so that you can apply this breath and this sense of ease and grace that you're inviting in, to where you're showing up for yourself in a different way that you can take with you off the mat and apply into your daily living. So having said that, let's go ahead and start. We're going to come into our first posture I want to focus on is called Tadasana Mountain Pose. So we're going to start out with our feet about hip width distance apart. You want to find the four corners of your feet. So that's the bones underneath your big toes, right underneath the pinky toes, and then the inner and outer corners of your heels. You can lift your toes if you'd like, kind of rock back and forth and find that placement. Kind of find it again, dispersed evenly. And as you ground down those four corners of the feet into your mat, you also want to start following up with the rest part of your body. So your thighs, I want you to think about pulling your thighs up in towards the hips, like you're pulling your femur bones up in towards your hip sockets. And at the same time, you're going to press the top of your thigh bones back in towards your hamstring. So as you press the thigh bones in towards the hamstring, it's like this pulling, coming to center feeling, this energetic quality that you're creating in that engagement. At the same time, we're going to talk about neutral pelvis, neutral hips. A lot of times, some of us, we have different ways of standing. The anatomical alignment is not happening for most of us in our daily living. For some of us, I know myself in the past, it used to be standing with the tilt, which allows my abs to no way, shape, or form to be able to engage whatsoever. I have friends who also tilt this way, where the shoulders slope forward, kind of the chest caves in, and the hips protrude forward. So we want to find that anatomical alignment. I want you to think about your hips as if you have a bowl of water here, right at your hip bones. And noticing that if you stand like I used to stand, with the pubic bone kind of tilting under and back, then all the water would spill forward in that bowl. If you're the opposite, like one of my good friends, you're doing it this way, then again, the water is going to spill out the backside. So you want to be able to find that even equal position here. So you can kind of play around with that and allow yourself to notice. The best way to describe it for me too is if I had a piece of paper and was holding it in front of me, my hip bones and my pubic bone would be touching that paper evenly. Because again, if I'm doing the tilt, duck butt I call it, and the water spilling forward, then it's going to be your hip bones that are touching that piece of paper you're holding. If you're doing the opposite, pubic bone touching, but hip bones are not. So you can think of it that way as well. And once you find that engagement here, again, you're inviting in your lower transverse abdominis muscles to kind of engage and pull up and in and kind of welcome to the party. And then at the same time, we want to make sure Then we have our shoulders stacked above our hips, hips above the heels, but again, some people like to protrude and stick their chest out, and then you find your ribs splaying apart. Again, we don't want to be hunched forward yet, so we want broad across the chest, across your collarbones. At the same time, you want to hug your ribs in. So you can think about like the medial part of your shoulder blades, the inner line of your shoulder blades. As you get broad across your chest, press the inner line of the shoulder blades in towards your chest. At the same time, button your ribs in towards one another and press them in towards your back. So again, that same quality of kind of everything hugging to center that we talked about in the lower extremities, same thing for the upper body. And then just lengthening through the crown of the head. You can bring your palms facing open here so it looks like this. And just allow yourself to breathe here. Just stand in your power. Feel what this feels like, having everything kind of hugging in, pulling, supporting you, lifting, elevating you in this moment. And then come into your breathing here. You can breathe, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose. Again, I don't like to breathe through my mouth. It tends to excite the heart rate more. So see if you can think about deep breathing, even if you want to do the Ujjayi breathing, where you're pulling the air over the back of your throat, exhaling it over the back of the throat. Kind of sounds like that Darth Vader-esque quality to it. The ocean tides kind of rolling in and out. You can really hear it. It's an audible sound, feeling, and sensation. Again, rolling over the back of the throat here. So just come into that feeling again. Are you still pressing through the four corners of your feet? Are you still inviting your thigh bones to pull up in towards the hips, getting taller here? Are you pressing the top of those thigh bones in towards the hamstrings? And then that pelvis, neutral position again. If it should be there, if it's not already, again, it's gonna be different for all of us. So again, you wanna feel lower abs pulling up and in. At the same time, you're still lengthening through the crown of the head. You're getting broad across the collarbones, the chest. Again, press the inner line of the shoulder blades forward a bit and hug your ribs in towards your back. Finding your breathing. Take 3 more breaths here. Notice where we tend to it gets tiresome and you kind of let the energy leak and just kind of relax and let go of any of those components. Can you bring it all back to center? Everything feels like it's pulling back to center. You got taller, you're supported, lifted again. Take 1 more breath in. Exhale, let it go. Awesome. I want to get us into a downward facing dog tonight. At the same time, I want to do one more little exercise here. If you don't have a block, you can always use a cup to where you basically have something even. Maybe you have like a coffee cup, a coffee mug that has a lid to it. Otherwise a block or maybe a thick enough book. You want to be able to use this as a prop so that we can talk about our arms in our downward facing dog. So I'm going to go ahead and give it an example here. I want you to bring your block out to the front of you, basically parallel to the floor. And as we do this, again, I'm just holding the block, everything's relaxed. I want to make sure that we're turning on, again, energizing the parts of the body that we're going to need to energize in our downward facing dog. So as we do this, I want you to think about wrapping your triceps down and in towards the sides of your chest. So you're inviting your arm biceps to roll up and out. At the same time, when you do that, what happens is the thumb, the index fingers come away from the block because you're really wrapping and squeezing that in. So at the same time, can you maintain that, but at the same time, roll your thumb and index fingers back in towards the block so that you feel that energized quality here as well as in the forearms through the hands. And then just finding your breath here. Still, again, in that Tadasana, everything we've worked from the floor up is employed here. Again, you're lifting through the crown of the head, you're wrapping your triceps, pressing your thumb index fingers in towards the block. And then very mindfully, very slowly here, as you pull the belly in towards the spine, pull the ribs into your back, and you slowly start to bring the block up. And again, we don't want to do this super fast to where we let go and everything here kind of relaxes and your shoulders shoot up into your ears. I want you to be mindful in this process. I want you to focus on continuously wrapping your triceps in, lifting your arm biceps, letting them roll up and out away from you towards the outer edges of your mat. At the same time, pressing thumb index fingers in towards the block so that you still feel that energized quality continuously as you start to open the shoulders more. Keep your breathing here. Your arms start to shake, that's okay. My arms are shaking. Again, just breathing, stay with it here. Wrap the triceps in, roll the arm biceps up and out. Press thumb index fingers into the block as you slowly start to bring the arms a little higher. Maybe you're not going to get your arms all the way where my arms are. That's perfectly fine. The whole objective is for you to understand what it feels like, that sensation of wrapping triceps, pressing thumb index fingers into the floor, and lifting them as high as you can. Yeah, so you probably feel that. Everything's like on fire, right? So now we're going to lose the block. Go ahead, shake that out if you need to. And we're going to come into our first downward facing dog. So I'm going to have you basically create a V shape with your body. Hands to the floor, feet to the back of the mat. So you're creating this V shape. And 9 times out of 10, what this looks like for most people is they think about, oh, I have to straighten my legs, so then their back is all rounded. If you're tight in your back or you're tight in your hamstrings, again, it's okay. You're working with your body today. So I would rather you bend your knees and allow yourself to press through the hands to get a longer, straighter spine here, still hugging your ribs in. So what did we talk about with the block exercise? We were wrapping our triceps in, right? So can you wrap your triceps in towards your face? Again, let the arm biceps roll up and out away from you. Wrapping triceps in so you feel this energized engagement here. And then what happens when we do that? Oh, the weight is coming into the outer or the back edge of my heel of my hand. So can I still press thumb and index fingers, kind of this little V shape, the meat of the palm of your hands here back into the floor as I press my mat away from me. So all 5 fingers here are invited into this party as well. So the knuckles underneath the fingers, maybe the tips of your fingers are a little bit white here. You're pressing the mat away from you as you press thumb index fingers into your mat. And as you do this again, focus on broad across the chest. And again, maybe the inner line of those shoulder blades, maybe gently press them forward in towards the chest, and then notice if the ribs again start to splay open and away from each other. Can you hug the ribs in? And this may be enough for you today to just do this as you lift your hips, your tailbone towards the ceiling. Those of you who have been practicing longer, if your shoulders, your back is open here, go ahead and allow yourself to invite in the lower extremities more by pulling both of your thigh bones back in towards your hip sockets. As you do that, you're going to feel your lower abs start to engage. This is some core work. Again, we want to get more of that lower core working. As you pull your thigh bones in towards the hips, can you maybe press the top of the thigh bones in towards the hamstrings, straightening your legs more as you ground the outer edge of your heels towards the mat. Let your inner thighs maybe spiraling back towards the wall behind you. So inner thighs spiral in a little bit and you ground to the outer edge of your heels. And you find your Ujjayi breathing again. Wrap the triceps. Press through the thumb and index fingers. Your gaze is soft between your shins here. And again, you allow yourself to hug the ribs in. Pull your thigh bones up towards the pelvis to feel the lower core engage more. Again, press top of the thigh bones in towards the hamstrings here. Again, ground the outer edges of the heels towards the floor as your inner thighs spiraling back towards the wall behind you. Again, breathing in. Exhale, let it go. One more deep breath. Exhale, let it go. You can stay here and breathe longer, doing a few more breaths, or if that's too much, you can also drop your knees. Open your knees, mat width distance, bring your big toes to touch behind you, and allow yourself to gently come into a child's pose. Your flat of the forehead can be touching the floor, can be parallel to it. If you're really tight, you could again use that block to allow your forehead to rest gently on the block here. And just breathe. So that is downward facing dog. This is a posture that you will find in a lot of yoga classes. That's a lot of times we'll move into chaturangas. Chaturangas will save, again, maybe for another day, or if you want to come to a class. I actually teach privates out of my home, as well as at Twisted Roots Yoga and Wellness here in York, Pennsylvania. I invite you to come check out our classes. Our studio has so many different styles to offer, and your first class is free. So by all means, if you're in our area, definitely come check us out. You can also email me at astateof@comcast.net for any information on some private lessons as well. And yeah, hopefully this tutorial on downward facing dog is going to help you feel a little stronger, a little bit more confident in being in an inversion pose, because it is an inversion. Not everybody thinks inversions, headstands, handstands, but no, downward facing dog, you're upside down, you're inverted. So great work tonight. Again, replay this over and over again to understand those fundamentals. This block exercise is amazing. I mean, there's a lot of classes where we'll do some block work like that just to start out and warm up. But yeah, hopefully it's helped you along your journey, and I wish you all the best. Keep going, keep striving for your own greatness, because the more time you put into you, the more you start to strip away the self-limiting beliefs and just start stepping into your power. It is work that you can do that no one else can do for you. So I would love to see all of you shine as bright as possible, and anything I can do to help, let me know. Have a wonderful journey. Namaste.